Hey guys, it's Brett. I'm here with my post-burn review of Sticky Bread Pudding from HomeWorx by Harry Slatkin. I purchased this set, if you saw my haul, along with the set of Cranberry Pumpkin Cake. I got 2 of each candles. So this is my review for Sticky Bread Pudding. These candles are 18 ounce and the burn time is 30 to 55 hours. So the notes for Sticky Bread Pudding are caramel, cinnamon, vanilla bean, and spiced butter. So if you saw my haul, you saw that I did get all of those notes, and on cold. I will say on cold, I thought I picked up more spice than what I am on burning. When I burn it, I'm not getting quite as much spice as I thought I did on cold. When burning, I definitely get the caramel. It's not a super cloying, overwhelming caramel though, but it is still there. It's still the more stronger note to me, but it is blended in with the vanilla bean and the butter. It's a very buttery. It's really a buttery caramel with like vanilla. You definitely get that vanilla bean with that buttery caramel. That's really the 3 notes that I really get. But then you just get like a little dash of a cinnamon in there, that little dash of cinnamon, especially when you get like really on top of the candle. You can kind of smell the cinnamon, but like when you're out into the room, I don't really pick up the cinnamon isn't quite as strong like when it throws out into the room. And then the spiced butter, I definitely get butter, but I don't know if I get like a real strong spice. Like any other spices, like I said, I pick up that cinnamon, but I don't get like a whole bunch of other spices really. I kind of wish maybe it would have a little bit more spices. I thought maybe on cold, I thought I was getting a little bit more spices, but burning, not so much. Burning, it's not real spicy. It's, like I said, mostly a buttery caramel with a little vanilla bean in there, and then just like a little dash of like a cinnamon type of spice, but not like a bunch of other spices. It is somewhat similar to bread pudding. I mean, bread pudding, you have a little bit of that cinnamon and that spice in there. I don't know if it's exactly like a bread pudding to me. When I smell it, I'm like, oh my God, that reminds me of bread pudding necessarily. But it's got similarities to it though, but I don't have a spot on bread pudding to me anyway. But it is really good nonetheless. It's been pleasant and nice. I just wish maybe could have had just a little bit more tad of a bit of a spice in it so that when it threw out into the room, I would have picked up a little bit more of that. So now we will talk about the burn. I will show you an overhead view of the burn. So as you can see, the burn is doing good now. The flames aren't super high, but they're not puny or anything really. They're doing good. It's almost at the end of the candle. You can see the wick clips because it's gotten so far down. It's completely pulled out to the bottom because there's not much left of the candle. I did, however, have just a little bit of puny wicks going on for this burn, and probably around the halfway point is when that started. I'm thinking it could be that I trimmed the wicks though, and I did the same thing on my cranberry pumpkin cake. I trimmed the wicks, just a little bit of the mushroom head that was on there, I trimmed it off, and then the flames got kind of smaller after that. This one got really puny, like especially right before this burn. When I lit it, the flames are really super puny, so I had to blow the flames out, cotton ball it, and then the flames are up higher now. But before I just cotton balled it, the flame on this burn here, the flames are pretty puny. So I would suggest do not trim your wicks on these candles anyway. This one and the cranberry pumpkin cake. Usually if I trim just a little bit of that mushroom top off on my HomeWorx candles, they bounce back pretty well and the flame gets high again. But for some reason on these two, when I trimmed them, the flames got pretty small and they didn't bounce back until I cotton balled it. I had to cotton ball it to get those flames to come back. So I would suggest not trimming the wicks on these, and just make sure you watch to make sure it's not smoking too high or anything if you don't trim it. And then if it is, then of course, if you see a lot of smoke or anything coming off, I would blow it out and trim it just a little bit. But if not, I would just not trim them, because that could attribute to the flames getting smaller. Like I said, I don't usually have that problem with HomeWorx, so I'm not sure why it was doing that with these 2 candles. But after I cotton balled it, it's been fine, and the flames are back to doing well. And it's now almost to the end of the candle. And next I'll talk about the throw. So the throw on this one, it was very similar to my cranberry pumpkin cake. It was light at first. I had it out in my open concept area. It's currently now in my bedroom when I'm reviewing this. I started out into the open kitchen living room area. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment, so I'm not like in a real big house. I don't have vaulted ceilings or anything. So, but it is open with the kitchen. The living room kitchen area are open. So I started out in the kitchen living room area, and it was really light. Like when I first lit it, I was smelling it. And then like, I want to say maybe like 30 minutes or so after that, it started getting lighter. And I'm like, oh, that's really weird, because I smelled it when I first lit it. And then it started getting a little bit lighter on that same first burn. And then I was like, I'm not really getting much now. It was strange, because usually once you start smelling it, you keep smelling it through that first burn. It doesn't like just kind of get lighter all of a sudden, but it did, and I wasn't really smelling it very well. So then while it was still lit, I carried it over into the bedroom, and then I had it in the bedroom for a while, and then it started really throwing. I smelled it much better in the bedroom, and that was the same thing that happened with my cranberry pumpkin cake. It was much better in the bedroom than it was out into the kitchen living room area. I started getting all the notes in the bedroom. I mean, I really picked up on that caramel, that buttery and vanilla bean that I told you about, which is a little bit of cinnamon in there. I really picked up those scents in the bedroom. I don't know if I have different airflow in the bedroom than I do in the living room, but I don't really think so, because I've never noticed that with any other candles I've had lit, or even other HomeWorx candles. If I can smell in the bedroom, I usually can smell it fairly well in the living room as well. It's always a little bit stronger in the smaller bedroom than like the open kitchen living room area that's a little bit bigger, but usually if I can smell it in one, I can smell it fairly well in the other one. But these two, this one and the cranberry pumpkin cake, they were considerably lighter in the living room area, almost to where I wasn't smelling much at all in the living room area. I'm not sure why it was doing that, but both of these did that. I don't know why. That was kind of upsetting, because I don't want to have to stick my candles in the bedroom to get them to really be able to smell them. Like I said, I could smell in the living room, but it was just very much lighter. I would probably say this one in the living room, this one was probably like around a 5 to 6 in the living room. And then in the bedroom, it got up to about probably like a 6 to a 7 to 7.5 in the bedroom. So it was much better. It wasn't like overwhelmingly strong, but it was, topped out probably about like a 7.5 in the bedroom. But in the living room, like I said, it was so much lighter. I'm not sure why, because this is a fairly, in the bedroom, it smelled pretty good to 7.5, and I don't know why it was so much lighter in the living room. But overall, I do enjoy this scent. It was nice. I just wish it was just a little bit more spicier than like when it threw really well out in the bedroom anyway. If it had more spices in it, it would have been even better to me, because I wasn't getting a whole bunch of spice in it. Just a little dash of the vanilla, but mostly that spice butter. Caramel, vanilla bean was the most prominent notes. And it was a little reminiscent to bread pudding, but maybe not 100% spot on, like I said, but it did somewhat give you that feel of a bread pudding. So that's my review of Sticky Bread Pudding from HomeWorx by Harry Slatkin. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all in our next video. Bye.